Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing to live. What I am discussing in this video is how living in fear on a regular basis boxes us into a small life. And there are many levels of fear. They're not just like basic, afraid to take risk in life sort of thing, but there are different areas of fear that sometimes manipulate and control our lives in ways that we may not always be paying attention to. I was having this thoughtful discussion with my oldest daughter the other night, and she was going on about something that, I don't know, seemed kind of a bit shallow, but with the age range, it's about right for her age range, right? And what I was trying to convey to her and get her to understand is that the more that we are steeped into judging others, it shows our deepest fears more than it shows something wrong with other people. So like if you're talking about something in the way that they want to carry on their life, the decisions that they're making and how they operate, clothes that they want to wear, people that they want to associate with, colleges they want to go to or not go to college, that seems to be a really big thing for them right now in school. Whether or not somebody's going or they're not going to college and what's their future going to look like. I'm like, you can never tell what people's future is going to look like. Oh my God, it took me so long to finish college the first time around. And then look at me, an academic scholar at this point. I was like, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we don't even wake up to our desires until like way later. It's not even a big deal. But I can understand how they feel that way because they're in one of those forward thinking schools. There's always this like success, prosperity, goals, and abundance. And so what I was telling her was that when you are heavily judging somebody and their decisions like that, in the fact that they don't mind the freedom of taking a gap year or something like that and not go to college directly after high school, I said what is really revealing more than anything is your own fear related to your own life. Is your own fear of like, if I took off a year, what if I didn't want to go to school? What if I, failed in life? What if I didn't make something of myself? What if I was stuck in a job that I didn't want to have, or something changed in my life where I wasn't able to go after my dreams and goals? I was like, so that person doesn't struggle with those same fears, and so they can go out there and be their greatest self in the way that they know how for themselves. So a lot of times we don't even realize in our judgments and in our conclusions about what other people are doing, what they're saying, and how they're living their lives, it's really just a testament to our overall fear if we had to walk in their shoes or we had to live the life that they're trying to live. And because we should all be looking to do whatever suits our soul and whatever works for us, I think that fear resides most in people who are not sure yet about where it is they want to take their lives and what it is they want to get out of their lives. Because when you understand your purpose and where you're headed a little bit more, you're not worried about whether other people are conforming to a specific lifestyle to make you feel more comfortable, but ultimately make themselves feel less comfortable, right? I'm honestly the kind of person, I scare people a bit with the freedom that I operate in my life. I do, because I don't ever feel like I want to be sitting around and thinking, what if this doesn't work out? Then I won't have this, then I won't have that. No, I live a very expansive life, and I've had so much adventure in my life and so many avenues of trying this out, trying that out, working at a television station, working at a radio station, traveling here, traveling there, working with these types of people, working in a Buddhist temple, right? For a project at school, working in a film place where they produce and edit films, working on documentaries. And it's like so many of these things have changed in my life. My students used to trip out when I would say to them, like when I was like 29 years old or so, like 28, 29, when I was teaching early on, and I would tell them how many jobs I've had at that point, they would be flabbergasted because they looked at me as somebody who like had it all together, who's been on one track, who came from a certain background because I was able to get the education. Now I stood in front of them like a professor. And so it must have lined up perfectly for me. And I'll be like, I've had about between 15 and 20 jobs. And they will go, what? And I'm like, some of them were simultaneously. I was just like, I've had a very good personality and people wanted to hire me all the time. And sometimes I didn't know how to say no. I would be like, well, I want to try that out too, right? And so some of these were what we call high tier jobs and some low tier. But I can even think of, the fast food early on when I was a kid, a security guard. I always tell them the different areas. And my daughters love when I regale them with stories about my many different things that I've done in life. And I'm working at the radio station, the television station, working in fast food, working as a security guard, working as a teaching assistant, working as a siding, the siding people put on their houses, like they do in like Louisiana and places like that, selling siding. That was something I did for a while. I was a telemarketer for a while. I did collections for a while for Singular Wireless, like all these little things. And I enjoyed all of it. Like there was something that I enjoyed about doing every little thing that I was doing. But in the background, in the back of it all, I was always feeling like I'm building a foundation for who Jameelah is and what her path is, right? I was never bogged down with the fear of what if I'm not meeting the standards of what other people are comfortable with. And it's worked out tremendously well in my life, right? But I always feel like you got to know when to walk that path. You got to know when something is for you to do and when it's not for you to do. And if you don't understand that, then you'll spend a lot of time focused on what other people are doing and what you feel like they're not getting right. And you'll box yourself into this very tiny lifestyle, this very tiny way of living. And for some people, they love that. And I think that's wonderful because you need to know even too in your purpose and who you are, if you're the kind of person that likes a very small and simple and compact life. Because I think that's wonderful and great. Like everybody's not supposed to be, hanging off, bungee cords in Jamaica somewhere. Like a lot of people do not enjoy that kind of stuff. It's just not who they are. And so when I say boxing yourself into a small life because of fear, it means a life that you have not intended for yourself. Because a lot of people can have what we might call a smaller and more comfortable life, but it's not based on fear. It's based on this is what I've truly always pictured myself living and having and being in my life. And I think that's a wonderful, beautiful thing. But when you have bigger goals or you have these really uncommon desires, or you have these really strong motivations to be something or do something or expand and grow in ways that you can't really even explain to other people around you, and you have these desires and you decide not to go, that is when you'll be boxed into a small life, because for you, it's a small life because it is not what you truly desire and what you truly want to experience. If you want to be a person that gets out there and do public speaking, you want to write books, you want to travel the world, you want to expand and grow in ways that you, like I said a second ago, you can't even really articulate to other people in a really specific way, but you just need to keep going, then it would not even behoove you to live in a scared and afraid place, like afraid of getting to know other people, afraid of putting yourself out there in the world, afraid of something as simple as sometimes it's starting a YouTube channel, right? Just sharing who you are with the world, because there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to other people. Other people are just other people. They're just other people. Why would I be insecure about other people to any degree? And I know that I've worked myself into this understanding, and as so many other people are, they don't see it that way, but you'll see it happen one day. I was telling a story a while ago on my channel. I was out with my daughters and a friend of mine a long time ago, not even a long time, but a couple of years ago. And I was doing something on my phone, and there was this big pole in the middle of the store that we were in. And I didn't even notice I ran directly into that pole. When I tell you, just like head first, boom. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? And the looks on my daughter's face, they were so embarrassed. And in that moment, I had zero feelings of caring about anybody in that store. I didn't care nothing about what they thought of me, whether they looked at me, whether they thought I was like, lady just ran into the pole. I was like, oh goodness. I was like, well, that happened fast. And it's like there was nothing there. Like I couldn't even latch on to an ounce of embarrassment. That is a beautiful space to be in, because who are they? It doesn't even matter. They didn't count. No, like nobody really matters in that sense. And if we get caught up into thinking like all the time, what do they say? How are they going to feel? What are they going to do? All it's really just showing is how we feel deeply about ourselves and our lives. If we're sitting there feeling embarrassed or pointing at somebody when they trip over something, or they make a mistake, or they do something outside of the norm and it doesn't work out for them, and they're taking a chance or taking the risk, and they have the audacity to be seen trying, all it's showing is that we're fearful fearful of our own self making a mistake before we even want to get out there and try. It's like we feel like we're better off just boxing ourselves into a corner of fear and judgment of others rather than just getting out there and trying. Because at the end of the day, you can look around any room that you walk into at any given time. Everybody's going to be gone. You're going to be gone too. That's just the way this life works, right? I think it's Les Brown that says nobody gets out of this thing alive. It may have been somebody else, but I feel like it was Les Brown. Nobody gets out of this thing alive. And so if you spend your time wasted on that, by the time you get up in age, it's just like, what was I always worried about? You were worried about absolutely nothing. You were worried about other organic beings who were just the same as you, who know just as much as you about so many things in life, because none of us are so far evolved outside of this human experience than other people. And the ones who judge you the most, they're even less evolved in their spiritual growth and expansion. And so you were going to let that hold you back. You're going to let that stop you from trying. That's why I think I'm so attracted to certain creators, even though somebody might say they're uncouth or they're a certain way or they're this and that. But when I see them living in their truest essence of who they are and not being afraid of like, why would I care about what you think? This is what I really want to go for. Those people give me life. Like they truly make me feel like, man, they're expanded in a way. And if they came to this earth like that, that's even better, right? So don't allow your fears and the things that would hold you up box you into a corner. And if you see yourself judging someone else based on some fear that you have for yourself, then that is a prime opportunity for you to see that this is not even real. This is something that I am projecting onto other people that's really just applying to me and my situation, right? Because you best believe I have people around me growing up and all that. They're like, oh, this girl got another job. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I like it. I like figuring out what happens over here. I like spending 3 years over here, then going, that was nice, right? I like rolling over retirement savings to a new place because it's not like you're losing any of that stuff, right? I like the idea of just being, now I want to face this direction. I like being multifaceted. I like when people look at my resume, they don't know where to put me because I have so many different talents. Because who says we're supposed to come here and have one talent and one idea and one mindset and one track of going in our lives to get anything done? That's a human development. That's a very personhood type expression of this experience. But if I want this spiritual experience, right? The spiritual being having a human experience, if I want that in my life, then I can't allow myself to be hung up on all the limitations and all the fears that other people are throwing out there every 5 minutes. Because if that's the case, you would never get anything done. You would never get anything done if you were worried about all the fears that other people had and what shouldn't work and what's not going to be and what's not going to be the best idea. You will see yourself, if you start dropping that fear and start getting out of that comfort zone, you will be the anomaly that everybody's always talking about. Now, it's a shame that it has to be an anomaly because so many people aren't willing to try, but you will be the anomaly. And when you get out of that fear and comfort zone at space, you will realize, you were like, dang, this wasn't that hard. Dang, it wasn't that hard to create an abundant life where I don't have to answer to nobody on a regular basis at all. Like, it wasn't that hard. The hard part was getting over the fear. And once you establish that part and you start to say, hey, man, what's going to be is going to be, and I'm going to be courageous no matter what, right? That's the hard part. After that, you realize, man, no wonder it's so few people that's doing this because it's hard to see it from the other side of the hill. Like it's a big block, like a big wall up there. And it's like when you're climbing, it's like, I feel like this wall is like, I don't know what's on the other side of this wall. It's going to be horrible, but it's really not. So if you find yourself bogged down in fear, bogged down in stress, bogged down in anxiety or panic or anything like that, just realize that your truest freedom lies on the other side of that. And that when we're too steeped in fear and we're too steeped in what could go wrong at all times, we find ourselves living a very confined existence, a very confined lifestyle, a very confined life. And when we want to desire and go do more and give more and be a part of the world and expand more, we'll find ourselves always being held back into this smaller space. So just have this in your mind at all times when you feel fear. Fear gives me a small and confined life. Do I want to experience a small and confined life? I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.